Isn't it true that we'd all like to, maybe all of us, or a lot of us anyhow, would like to lose a few pounds? Yeah. Well, what if I were to tell you that there's a successful weight loss program, and it doesn't involve any special meals. You don't have to exercise X hours a day. You don't have to give up any favorite foods. You can even eat dessert. There's no gastric bypass surgery required. No caffeine-laden pills, or no purging involved. None of that. Many of us, I think, have thought about at least one of these methods when it came to, in my case, getting into a dress for a special wedding last week. And sometimes those techniques even work a little bit. We can make our bodies lighter, but usually only for a little bit. Those times that I want to loosen, kind of lose a little bit of weight physically, I notice that I'm not quite fitting into the clothes that I subconsciously did not donate to my favorite charity, Faith Ministries. I started to feel maybe a little bit sluggish. So I get motivated to lose those extra few pounds. And because my spring has been kind of taken out of my step, maybe I don't breathe quite as well. And so I get winded a little quicker walking up my mountain. And then I find myself lounging on the couch with the dog, Miley, here. And we both like that a lot, but it really makes a lot more sense. It's better for us if we take a long walk in the woods together. But feeling my body a little bit heavy doesn't even compare to when I feel that weight on my spirit and on my soul. And so that's really what I'm talking about when I'm talking about lightening up today. I don't know about you, but when that happens, and it happens to me, I feel like one of these things I'll describe. The power has gone out during a storm, and I'm really struggling to keep one candle lit. I feel doubtful, maybe a little bit lost. I'm heavy with worry or concern or fear for myself, or maybe more often someone that I love a lot. I get bogged down maybe with a little bit of anger or resentment or judgment. And sometimes I feel like the world has heaved on barriers to me, or more likely I've done it to myself, right? I don't actually feel as clean when I get that way in my spirit and my soul. I feel a little stagnant. Sometimes I feel confused, like I'm going on around in circles. Any of this sound familiar to you? Yeah. Sometimes I feel at war, and sometimes I even feel stupid. Believe it or not, I feel stupid. I feel crowded, but at the same time, I definitely don't feel connected. I'd much rather feel as light as a feather. Wouldn't we all? Light on my feet and treading lightly on the earth. You know, I was reading the Daily Word from yesterday, and this particular piece really spoke to me. Walking as if I were kissing the earth with my feet. That's just a beautiful, beautiful idea. Wouldn't it be interesting if people put in even a fraction of the time and the money that they spend into having a lighter body, into getting a lighter spirit, getting the weight off of our souls? I'd say so. Just about every religion that I've read about a lot of them, has a lot to say about the light of spirit. Light is a divine aspect. It's a divine presence. In the Buddhist scripture, I read a lot of Buddhism in different journals, talks about the numerous Buddhas of the light. Unity talks about radiating the light of Christ's presence within. The followers of an old religion that actually came around the same time as Christianity and was even bigger than Christianity in some of those early centuries. It was called Manichaeism. They talk about God as literally light. They talk about, they had a kind of a dualistic cosmology where there was a struggle between the spiritual good of the world, and that was represented as light, and darkness as evil. And the human person was kind of embodied in all of this, and it was a battleground inside of us between good and evil. In other religions, like the Hinduism, they have a festival called Diwali. It's the Festival of Lights. And it's a celebration of the victory of light. And in Iran, they have the Zoroastrians, if you've ever heard of that religion. And what they talk about is the light. They talk about, what do they talk about? They talk about the supreme god Ahura Mazda, and I have a Mazda, so I was particularly attracted to this one as the source of light. And Bible commentators see the presence of light as a metaphor of truth and guidance and good and evil and knowledge and ignorance. You know, we think about these things, so I'm kind of setting you up for this idea. Light also communicates joy or levity, as in being light. The saying goes, angels can fly because they take themselves lightly. And I like to take myself a lot more lightly. Light heart is wise. It's not held down by heavy emotions and thoughts of doom or despondency, those things that we're all kind of caught up in with the news lately. And the person who is light in nature laughs easily. They take life as it comes, not dwelling on life's downturns with a heavy heart. And they seem to bounce back with resilience, don't they? The Dalai Lama comes to mind as one. He called himself a professional laugher. A professional laugher. He gets paid for laughing. How about that? He says, I have been confronted with many difficulties throughout the course of my life, and my country is going through a critical period. Still is. But I laugh often, and my laughter is contagious. I guess that goes with all of us. In this case, in his case, being light is about acceptance and release and surrender, letting go and turning within, because when that happens, a shift takes place. I've spent a lifetime trying to learn that, and I'm still trying to learn that. And I'm probably going to try to learn that for the rest of my life. Reconnecting with the light and getting my focus realigned. I think that's a noble cause in my case, and maybe it is for yours as well. But in so doing, when I begin to see a little bit of success with this, I become lighter, I became almost buoyant, more relaxed, even floating a little bit. In a physical sense, we all know that light is vibration, right? It doesn't take much. When things are resonating, vibrating at a higher vibration, a higher frequency, it generally means they're lighter. The sound is lighter. And according to universal law, we all heard a little bit of that in Unity, the science of quantum physics, everything in the universe is fundamentally made of pure energy, and that energy is constantly vibrating. It's oscillating, and it does that at different speeds, sometimes faster and sometimes slower. And though we have flesh and bones, we're essentially energy. And we're moving, those things that are part of us are moving at a rapid pace, a very rapid pace. And all of that energy has a vibrational frequency. Perhaps you've never thought about your frequency before. I mean, we think about frequency with regard to music and electronics, but we each have a frequency. And that impacts every aspect of our individual lives. How you're vibrating, how I'm vibrating right now, helps me create my own reality. And remember the law of attraction. Like attracts like, right? We've heard of that. You magnetize or you repel all experiences and people and circumstances into your life. Even those ones that appear to be coincidental or accidental. Right, Joyce? Yeah. Similar to radio waves that are heard constantly, but they remain unseen. Our vibrational frequency, yours and mine, emanates from our thoughts and our emotions and our consciousness, and they're continuously being broadcast out into the universe, out into this room. And this broadcast is then going to attract similar frequencies, people, opportunities, whether they're good or bad in your estimation. And by nature, a high oscillating vibration is going to attract more high frequency, spiritually uplifting experiences in life. And a low vibration generally attracts the opposite. So have you heard people talking about attaining a higher vibration? Probably have? Okay. We all vibrate energetically at a particular vibration that's just ours. And the lower the frequency, the denser our energy feels, the heavier your problems seem. And the higher we're vibrating, it's just the opposite. The energy or vibration, when we're lighter, we feel physically lighter. We're going to feel emotionally and mentally lighter in our bodies. You experience greater personal power, maybe clarity or peace or joy when we're vibrating a little bit higher. You have less discomfort or pain. Maybe you don't feel that pain the same way when you're vibrating like that. Your energy is full of life, and your life flows with synchronicity. Things seem to come a lot easier. Now, how to determine your frequency? Do you know how to determine your individual frequency right here and right now? It's not hard. It's just paying close attention to how you're feeling right now. And when you hold positive thoughts in your mind, then you're going to be feeling a little bit happier, more inspired, more content. I know just sitting here listening to Crow's music put me in a different frequency, a different vibration, more at peace than I was earlier today or last night. When you hold negative thoughts, of course, that's a lower frequency. You feel a little bit more grouchy or angry, maybe sad. And the better you feel, the higher the frequency. It's simple. But we're all creators of our own lives. And the good news is we have the power to change that frequency too. And that's the really cool part. We can change our frequency at any moment, between this moment and the next moment. Even something as simple as laughter. Laughter is the best medicine, we've heard about that, is going to change our frequency, our individual, and maybe the people around us as well. Or being creative. I know you sat, Crow, and thought about your music and created some of this music yourself. Maybe you'd heard it from elsewhere, but when I sit and create some music, whether it's with the cello, usually with the cello, and I feel like I need to bring my vibration up, oddly enough, because it has a low vibration, it brings me into a positive place because creativity moves us into, just moving the juices a little bit differently. I'll sit and play and I'll get myself out of the doldrums. Now, alternatively, we can avoid doing certain things that are going to put us down in that place too, can't we? That might be using or abstaining from use of stimulants like caffeine. I'm not saying I don't have a cup of coffee because I had 2 this morning. But known stimulants like caffeine or refined sugar or alcohol or drugs, they're going to give us that feeling that we want in the moment, but it's going to come to an ending crash. But there are other ways to keep that vibration in a better place, in a higher place. And I'm going to name 10 of them, but you don't have to remember them because I put them down on a 1-page sheet here, and I've got about a dozen of them here. And we can put them in the newsletter too, because they're fairly simple. And the first one, I bet you most of you do practice this, a lot of you do, it's meditation. And according to just a lot of studies, even Harvard Medical School, the practice of meditation, not medication, permanently strengthens that portion of the brain that is linked to abstract thought and cognitive reasoning and creativity and positivity. Permanently. So if we're doing this on and on, day after day, year after year, it makes a permanent difference. It also triggers the brain to release certain chemicals that are linked to simple pleasure and that deep sense of calm. So you all know, who do some meditation, how you feel. It's just a reminder. And irregardless of the meditation method you use, what you've been taught, or the religion that you practice, sitting still for just 5 minutes a day, the scientists even say, makes a big difference. It's going to change our frequency, and it's going to contribute to a happier, more uplifted me. Number 2, unplug from the matrix. Okay. Although computers and smartphones and iPads and all of those things connected to these devices, they're great for staying connected and getting information. They all emit electromagnetic fields, and that can impact our personal energy. So I'm not saying don't use them, but just stay away for periods of time every day. Limit your exposure. If you're there for more than 2 hours, it's going to have an effect. And so turn them off before going to sleep. And perhaps even do some periodic text detox. Start with an hour, maybe go to a day. Number 3, bathe. That seems really simple. But what it means is by bathing, by soaking, there's actually a cleanse that helps wash away some unseen energies that kind of cling to us. It changes our aura. And whether it's Epsom salts or some sea salts, a little bit of detoxification in that way can change your astral energy field, and it can invigorate you and change your energy, your vibration. Even washing your face and hands makes a difference, doesn't it? Okay, number 4, spend time with positive people. We all spend time with people that maybe aren't positive or by obligation or whatever. But we got to be honest with ourselves that if we're spending time with people who kind of bring us down or keep us into a lower place, we really kind of have to take stock of that and think about, do I need to change that habit, that relationship? Well, it takes a lot of honesty, but it can drain you and keep you depressed, keep you angry. And so I've had to release some people in my life, for sure. Your spiritual health depends on it. Number 5, move your body. Even 5 minutes of exercise and just moving, it's not about working up a sweat, but that is going to change our vibration for sure. Besides the fact that it has its anti-aging and mood-changing and metabolic effects. So whether it's walking or Tai Chi or whatever it is, just a little bit of exercise, and try to keep it outside as well, because then you're breathing different for sure, because you're rooted in a different place. You're reconnecting with your higher self, and this proves it. We're all feeling different being here. Number 6, organize your environment. Clean out a drawer. It's as simple as that. Because our physical environment reflects that inner emotional state, and it's going to change that inner emotional state. So a little bit of changing the clutter makes a big difference and can change your energy. These are all reminders that I think we all know, but kind of putting them together gives us something to work on for the week. It's an instant energy boost. Number 7 is serve others. Okay? As the saying goes, you get to keep what you give away. And so think about what your talents, what your strengths are. It doesn't have to be anything big, but we all have something to share, and being a light means transforming some of the gifts that you do have. It's like Laura playing the music every Sunday. It helps transform you, right? I know that. It makes a big difference in who you are. We all have something to give to make us happier, healthier, and the simple act kind of takes that focus off ourselves, and it's going to change our vibration. Number 8, clean up our diets. Well, that simply means you are what you eat, so keep your vibration a little bit higher by reducing the meats, the fresh, and keeping more in the line of fresh vegetables and the unprocessed foods. And that's going to make a difference in how you feel. And that's because it changes your vibration, for sure. Number 9, go on a news detox. Sandy, I'm speaking to you. No, you know it. And I'm speaking to all of us too, because I do the same thing. I pull out my iPhone and hit that CNN button or whatever and say, what's happened today? What is he said today or she said today? And it's because most of the mainstream news outlets, they serve a primary purpose, and that's earning profits. It's not to bring our spirits up. That's not their purpose. I was a journalism broadcasting major, and I remember learning, some really good things about journalistic ethics. But I also heard the mantra, if it bleeds, it leads, and that kind of dictates what's newsworthy and what's not. So try it for a week, try it for a day, even try it just for the morning, a little bit of detox in that line. And number 10, we've had several speakers talk about this one recently. I'm going to repeat it. It's worth repeating. Practice gratitude. There was a best-selling book a good number of years ago. It was called The Hidden Messages in Water. And it was written by an internationally known scientist. He was Japanese, and his name was Dr. Masaru Emoto. And he used some high-speed photography to demonstrate how profoundly our thoughts and words and feelings can impact molecules of water. And when he took some clean water and he said beautiful things to it, in particular, thank you. This photography was able to pick up some beautiful colors and beautiful patterns and crystals happening. And when he took a little bit more contaminated water and he said things like, I hate you, into it, there was a totally different effect, a totally different crystallization, dull colors. It made a difference. Now, think of this. We are 70% or more water in our bodies. And so, it stands to reason, if we say nice things like, thank you, it makes a difference here and it makes a difference to those who we're saying it to. It might seem simplistic, but I think it makes a difference. It's worthwhile. So, with all of that said, and with that information available on a one-page sheet right up here for some of you, what I'd like to do is do the meditation on being light, being a little bit lighter in spirit and in vibration. And I'm going to use the quartz crystal singing bowls. Some of you have experienced these before, and some of you haven't. They're made out of quartz crystal, when our bodies are made out of quartz crystal as well. There's a lot of that within it. And so we vibrate, these vibrate, and there's some resonance that is created when the strong vibration from these bowls happens. It has some changes sometimes physically to us and sometimes mentally, because it kind of puts us into a place really fast. And so we're going to have a little bit of help with the tones that are going to resonate in our physical bodies and our mental bodies. So let's just sit up straight, feet on the floor, and if you could put your bodies into that place, close your eyes if you like, and smile. Smile. Light's a natural resource. It's free of charge. Taking in a higher vibration, it's also free of charge, but it's a choice. Operating in a higher vibration, I believe, has become more and more important for each of us, individually and just as human beings. It's important to us and everything around us. When you choose to be at a higher vibration, when you make that choice, you're an example. Choosing the light of a higher vibration, though, requires a firm commitment. Even when it feels like you no longer fit in. And the truth of the matter is, you're not going to necessarily fit in. You won't receive approval or fit in any longer, because you will stand out. You will stand out from those who have a lower vibration. Just as a tiny light stands out in the midst of a dark room. Understand that those with a lower vibration have the potential to raise their frequency as well. And remember, please, that you are going to be able to find people who resonate at that higher vibration, where you will have the support that you need to keep your light shining. And many of those people are right here in this room. And so I thank you for these moments. And sometimes we end with a song or a saying, and I think it's appropriate right now to just end with a song that I know we at least know the first verse of, and it's called "This Little Light of Mine." So, this little light, let it shine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. One more time. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine.